So good morning, everybody, and we are back to the session on computation of gross total income. In today's session, we are going to also cover the income from business or profession. In about 5 to 6 sums that we did so far, we had a combination of salary income plus house property income. Now we are adding one more combination of income from business or profession. We have already seen this format of computation of total income, but we have not discussed how to compute the income from business or profession. So let us understand that part first, and then we can work on the income from business or profession. When you are computing the income from business or profession, there are two possible scenarios. One scenario is you are given either profit and loss account or income and expenditure account. Usually P&L account will be for business and income and expenditure account may be generally for professionals. Or you may have receipts and payments account, which is a second scenario. Now today we will discuss if you are given income and expenditure account or P&L account, then how do we compute the income from business or profession. Now when you look at the profit and loss account, the profit and loss account will be having a gross profit, since you already prepared a trading account which comprises of sales, opening stock purchase, closing stock and some of the other expenses, and then you will have the gross profit. So P&L account will have a gross profit. It will have some other items of income. So these items may be related to business or it may not be related to business, because you are looking at a proprietor's P&L account. So some of the items which are credited to P&L account may not be necessarily in the nature of income from business or related to business. On the debit side of P&L account, you will have variety of expenses, and then you will have the net. Now this net profit which is reflected in P&L account is the one which will need some adjustments if you want to find out the income from business or profession, because this P&L account is prepared on certain accounting principles and customs. You don't apply the provisions of income tax every time you prepare the P&L account. Whereas what is taxable under the head income from business is a net profit which is computed in accordance with the provisions of income tax. Now since your P&L account is already ready based on accounting principles, practices and customs or GAAP, we need to adjust this net profit so that we can arrive at the appropriate taxable income from business or profession. So we'll understand how do we make these adjustments and how do we find out the income from business or profession. So our starting point will be net profit as per profit and loss account. We are looking at this template now. Our starting point is going to be the net profit as per profit and loss account. Now this net profit will undergo certain changes. So let us see what kind of changes will be done. Now there are certain items of expenses which are debited to P&L account, but which are not allowed as deduction while computing the income from business. For example, income tax. Income tax, if it is debited to P&L account, it is not a for tax. It is disallowed in computation of income. Then we have also seen several other disallowances like 43B related disallowances, where the amount is debited to P&L account, but if it is not paid before the due date of filing of income tax returns, then such expenses will be disallowed. Likewise, there are other expenses which are not in conformity with the provisions of law. For example, expenses which are covered by section 37(1) general deduction. There may be some expenses which are not related to business, and those expenses will not be allowed as a deduction. So expenses debited to P&L account but disallowed is the first addition that we will make to net profit. This will cover even the personal expenses which are debited to profit and loss account, but these are not allowed as deduction. Then there is another possibility. You have debited certain amounts to P&L account, but actual deduction amount will be different as compared to the profit and loss account. So in that case, what do we do? Just a minute. In that case, what do? We have to add back this amount also. One of the example is depreciation. Because many times depreciation is computed in a different way when you prepare your financial statements, whereas actual deduction under section 32 will be different. So we have to add back the depreciation which is there as per P&L account and then claim a separate deduction. So there are two types of additions First type of addition is expenditure which is debited to P&L account or any other amounts which are debited to P&L account which are not allowed as deduction. And the second item of addition is items which are debited to P&L account but which will have to be considered separately because the deduction will be calculated in a slightly different I'm sorry, in a slightly different manner. So we add back these two sums, we come to the subtotal. Then we have to go through the credit side of P&L account. Now, whenever the items are credited to P&L account, it is possible that these will be taxable under some other head. For example, if you have credited interest income to P&L account, it is taxable as income from other sources. Then there might be certain items of income or receipts which are credited to P&L account but which are not taxable at all. So we have to remove even the receipts of that kind. So there will be certain deductions from net profit and these will be items credited to P&L account but considered separately or which are exempt from tax. These will have to be reduced from P&L account net profit. And one more deduction will follow, and that is any other deduction. For example, depreciation, as I told you, you are debited certain amount to P&L account, but the actual depreciation as per income tax is different. So what we do, we add back the original amount debited to P&L account, and then we claim a deduction for actual amount of deduction, amount of depreciation as per section 32. So that could fall within the meaning of other deductions. And once you do these adjustments, what you will get is a income from business, which is essentially your net profit, but adjusted for provisions of law as per the provisions of income tax. So if you are given either profit and loss account or income and expenditure account, our starting point is going to be net profit or surplus as per income and expenditure account. We add back all those items which are debited to P&L account but which are not allowed as deduction. We also add back all those amounts which are debited to P&L account but these are to be considered separately. Then we reduce all those items which are credited to profit and loss account but which are either taxable under some other head of income or which are not taxable at all, like exemption from tax. And then we also claim a deduction for others, for other deductions like depreciation if it is required. With these adjustments, what you get is a adjusted net profit or income from business or profession. Have you understood this format or template and the logic behind that? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you already written down or you want to write it down? Yes. Have you already written this part?
No, sir.
Okay. Then please write down this template. How to compute the income from business. This is a template we are going to use. So please write it now itself, and then we will go and discuss the first sum on business income. I'll give you a couple of minutes to write down, and then we can start again. Can we go to the sum? Can we start with the discussion on the question?
Sir. Yes.
Yeah. So we come to the first question on computation of business or income from business or profession. Very simple question to begin with. Question number 7. It says Mr. G has given the following details of his income for the previous year 2019-2020. He is engaged in a business of manufacture and sale of chemicals, and he has given the P&L account for the year ended on 31st March 2020. So with this, we'll have to find out how to prepare his working for income from business. In the P&L account, P&L account has a gross profit on the credit side. There are a couple of other items like amount received on maturity of life insurance policy, and there is a rent received. On debit side, you have usual items of expenditure like salaries, business rent, travel, conveyance, bad dates, some provisions for doubtful debts, and so on. And finally, the net profit is given. Then you are given some additional information saying that depreciation as per IT rules is so much. Business promotion includes 10,000 spent for his son's birthday party, and he owns a house, and that is given on the rental, and the rent received is credited to profit and loss account. So these are the things which are given to us. Now, when you have a P&L account, our first step is to find out which is the other head of income apart from business. Because if P&L account is given, you obviously are going to compute the income from business. But apart from that, which other head of income is involved? That also we need to check. If you look at the credit side of P&L account, there are two sums other than the gross profit. One is amount received on maturity of life insurance policy. If you recall our discussion, there is section 10, subsection 10D, and it exempts any amount which is received as maturity proceeds or any amount under a life insurance policy. So this 1,50,000, it is credited to P&L account, but it is actually eligible for exemption under section 10, subsection 10D. So it is not taxable. So we'll have to see what we need to do with this. Second one is a rent received. This rent received is not a business income. It is taxable as income from house property, because the additional information says he is the owner of a property and the property is given on rental basis. So that means we have one more head of income, and that is income from house property. So let us start with the working. Usual format we will follow, and then we will start. This is going to be your standard header even in this case. Okay, name of the SSC, Mr. G. Rest of the details as usual. Okay, so write down the header, and once you write the header, we'll start with the income computation. Now your first heading will be income from house property. We have just identified that there is a head of income from house property. Leave our 3-4 lines. I guess 4 lines should be good enough, and then we will give the heading income from business. This is going to be the next head of income. Okay, are you ready with the format? We can start. Yes, can we start with the details?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So income from business, our first item will be net profit. Profit and loss account. We are given net profit as per P&L account, which is 8,61,500, which is our starting point. And then we are going to adjust this profit. Okay, so add consider separately. Now, how do we do this? We will start with the debit side of P&L account, okay? And then every item we will discuss, see whether there is any disallowance. If there is a disallowance, we will add that item here. That is the standard process that we are going to follow. So let's start with the P&L account. The first item is salary, 1,24,000. Salary is a usual business expenditure, right? It's required to be incurred when you carry on the business or profession. And there is no other information to suggest that any portion of salary will be disallowed, because there is no contrary information to disallow any portion of salary. So salary will be then fully allowable expenditure. No adjustment is called for. Same is the case with office rent. It is debited to profit and loss account. There is no additional information to suggest that there is some portion of that which will be disallowed. So office rent is also fully allowed. Travel expenses. Travel expenses is again a common expenditure incurred for business, and there is no additional information to disallow that. So we will add that. We will not add that. We will consider it as allowable expenditure. No adjustment is called for. Next is bad debts, 4,500. Bad debts are the losses related to the business. If you fulfill the conditions which are laid down for deduction of bad debts, it can be claimed as a deduction. And we do not have any contrary information to say that you have not complied with the conditions or it is not related to business or whatever. So that means we are going to make a presumption that even bad debts are fully allowed as deduction. Only if there is additional information to suggest that there is a disallowance, we will look into it. If there is no information, usually those expenses, unless something else is there, will have to be allowed as deduction. Next is provision for doubtful debts. Now there is a difference between these two items, bad debts and provision for doubtful debts. Bad debts is the actual loss related to the business, and provision for doubtful debts is a provision for probable loss which may arise in future. So it's a provision for loss, it is not the actual loss. And as per the provisions of law, as per the provisions of income tax, any provision for such probable losses is not allowed as a deduction. If you have actually incurred the loss which is deductible and it has crystallized during the year, and if you make a provision, that may be allowed as a deduction. But provision for doubtful debts which is not crystallized during the previous year, there is no guarantee that the loss will actually arise, and it is not an actual write-off on account of bad debt. We cannot allow provision for doubtful debts as a deduction. So we will add back this item. So add first item, provision for doubtful debts. First column 10,000. We are adding back 10,000 rupees because this is not a business expenditure. This is not an amount which can be allowed as deduction. Next is office expenses and selling expenses. Again, we don't have additional information for these two heads. So it is a common business expenditure and we should allow that as a deduction. Next is depreciation. Depreciation, it says 35,000 is debited to P&L account, but as per IT rules, the SEC can claim depreciation of 65,000. So we will add back depreciation, saying that depreciation 35,000 is considered separately. So we are adding back 35,000. When we go to deductions, we will claim a deduction for 65,000. Next is business promotion. It says that business promotion includes 10,000 spent for its son's birthday party. Now tell me, celebration of son's birthday party, is it a business purpose? Can we consider it as business purpose? No, it is not a business purpose. Even if you say that I have called few of my customers or clients, still by any remote sense, it cannot be treated as a business purpose. It's purely and purely a personal expenditure. And any personal expenditure in computing the income is not allowed as a deduction. Okay, so if you have spent 10,000 for son's birthday party, and if that amount is included in business promotion, by no chance one can get that deduction in computing the income from business or profession. So we are going to add back this 10,000 because it is treated as a personal expenditure of the assessee. Okay, so we'll add here expenditure. Now we are not going to add the entire amount of expenditure, only this 10,000 that will be. Rest is for business. What is personal is given separately 10,000. So we have to add back. Next is income tax. Income tax is not allowed as deduction. Okay, we have discussed this in section 40. So income tax is never allowed as deduction. So we are going to add back this 30,000 also. This is not considered as a deductible expenditure. Then staff welfare. Staff welfare is again a usual business expenditure for employees, etc. So unless you have some other information, there is no point in disallowing this expenditure. Next is a property tax, which relates to laid-out property. Now this property tax is not for business premises, but it is for other property whose income or rent is going to be taxed as income from house property. So under the head income from business, we have to disallow this. So add property tax because it is not related to the business or profession. So amount is 6,000 rupees. So we have added back property tax because it is not considered as part of income from business or profession. Are you clear up to this stage? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What we did so far, we have taken the net profit as a starting point. Then we went through the debit side of P&L account. We identify the items of expenditure which are not allowed as deduction or which may be dealt with separately, and we added back all those items. Now next is same analysis of the credit side. Okay. So first item is gross profit. That will not call for any adjustment. It's part of your business. Second is amount received on maturity of life insurance policy, which, as I told you, is liable for exemption under section 10 subsection 10D. So leave couple of lines here and then say less deductions items. In that proceeds of life insurance policy are 1,50,000. So that will be shown here as deduction. Now, when you have these kind of exemptions or when you have these kind of items, it is better to give a note separately saying that these are exempted or otherwise. Okay. So I'll use this space to make the notes. Okay. So in that first note, Amount received as proceeds of life insurance policy, rupees 150,000, is eligible for exemption under section 10, subsection 10D. Okay, so this is getting reduced from the profit. The second one is rent received. This will be considered separately. Okay, so rent received 1,20,000. This has to be considered separately because this is not business income. This will be treated as income from house property. Everybody has completed up to this stage? Yes? Can we proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these two deductions. Now credit side is over. Now we have to see the rest of the information. So additional information says depreciation as per IT rules. We have to claim this. If you recall, we have added back 35,000 and as per provisions of law, actual depreciation is 65. So we are going to claim a deduction for that. Depreciation as per IT rules is 65,000. So this adjustment is taken care of. Business promotion also we have taken care of. Okay. Now what we have to do is we have to close this sum, and before doing that we will also compute the income from house property. So in that, rent received 1,20,000. Now there is a property tax paid that will be allowed as deduction. Property tax is municipal tax. It was debited to P&L account and we have disallowed that. So 6,000 is allowed as a deduction when you compute the income from let out property. This is the net annual value of the property and less deduction under section 24 at 50% of of NAV is a standard deduction. So that means our income from house property is 79,800 rupees. Very simple. Our rent received is 1,20,000. From that we claim the deduction for property taxes, municipal taxes paid during the year, which are 6,000. You got the net annual value of the property, which is 1,14,000. There is no home loan or other information, so we can't claim a deduction for interest. But standard deduction is available under section 24, which equals to 30% of the net annual value. So you claim that deduction and balance 79,800 will be taxable income from house property. Is everybody clear about the income from house property?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So property head is done. Now we come to the business income and we'll try to close that. I believe we have taken care of all the adjustments. Nothing is left out. So we will take this total of additions. So let's take the total of these additions. Total additions are 91,000. Okay. And we take the subtotal also. So 861 plus 91 is the subtotal. This is your subtotal, which is 8,61,500 plus total of additions, which is 91,000. Subtotal comes to 9,52,500. And then these are the deductions. So let's claim the deductions. Total of deductions is 3,35,000. So once you claim these deductions, what will remain is income from business or profession. So 952,500 minus 3,35,000. This is your income from total. Gross total income will be both the heads put together. That's 97,300 is the amount of gross total income. Has everyone followed the method of computing business income? Yes? Any difficulty about the method which we have used to compute the income from business?
No, sir.
Everybody has understood? Okay. I don't think any difficulty should be there for house property income, which was very simple. We have done few sums earlier. So house property should not pose a problem. So has everybody followed the first question on business income?
Yes, sir.
Then we will go to the second question. Everybody has finished also? All of you have written the complete solution? Yes? Everybody has completed the solution. Can we go to the next sum?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have the second sum now. Okay, question number 8. Now, Mr. H is engaged again in a business of manufacturing and sale of some engineering goods, and you are given his profit and loss account for the year ended on 31st March 2020. So again, the same methodology we are going to adopt. But before we go ahead, we have to find out which are the heads of income. And for that, we need to carefully analyze his income side, his credit side of P&L account. That will tell you which is the appropriate head of income that we have to consider. Now, if you go to the credit side gives you gross profit, which is of course business income. There is the amount received on maturity of PPF account, Public Provident Fund account. Is it taxable? What happens when somebody receives any amount from Public Provident Fund on its maturity? We have discussed this.
So taxable होगा sir.
No. This is fully exempt from tax. Any amount received from PPF account, Public Provident Fund account, is fully qualified for exemption under section 10, subsection 12. Okay. PPF interest is tax free, and whenever you withdraw the amount from PPF account, that whole amount, including the interest, is tax free. So 15 lakhs will not be taxable. Next is share of profit from partnership firm. It appears that Mr. H is a partner in a partnership firm, and he has received few sums from partnership firm. If you read it further, there are three items. One is share of profit. Second one is a remuneration from partnership firm as a working partner, 150,000, and a third one is interest on capital from the partnership firm. So there are three sums that he has received from partnership firm. We have to see the taxability of these sums. Okay. If you recall our discussion on section 28, we have discussed these items, wherein section 28 says if a working partner receives any fees, salary, bonus, commission, or any other form of remuneration from a partnership firm, it is taxable under the head income from business of profession. So any amount received from partnership firm where a person is a working partner is liable for tax as business income. If the person receives interest from capital account or current account, as the case may be, or even loan account from a partnership firm where he is a partner, then even that amount is liable for tax as income from business or profession. But there is one sum which is not liable for tax, and that is share of profit from the partnership firm. If the share of profit is distributed in accordance with the provisions of partnership agreement, then it is eligible for exemption under section 10, subsection 2A. So this amount of share of profit, 75,000 rupees, what we are talking about, is not taxable. This is the exempt receipt. Whereas the remuneration and interest on capital are taxable. Similarly, this PPF account, Amount received is not taxable. Okay, these are the non-taxable items of receipts. Then what about remuneration and interest on capital, which is the appropriate head to tax this? Both are taxable as income from business because you have section 28 that governs this, and section 28 says both these sums will be liable for tax as income from business or profession. That means if you look at the credit side, there are two sums just marked by me with shaded area are eligible for exemption under section 10. All other items are taxable, all other credits are taxable, and all of them are taxable as income from business or profession. So that means we have just one head of income here, and that is income from business or profession. Have you understood this? Is the discussion so
Yes.
far clear to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Then we will start with income computation. Okay, directly income computation we can start. Okay. Directly we'll skip the header now because it's only one head and all of us know now how to prepare that format. So I think we can skip the headings now. Income from business. So as usual, our starting point will be net profit as per P&L account. So that will be the starting point. Net profit. Profit is 19 lakhs 41,100. Now same thing what we did earlier we have to do. We have to go through the debit side of P&L account and find out whether there are any disallowances as such. So same heading, add expenses not allowed as deduction or considered separately. Add expenses not allowed as deduction or considered separately. It will be the same heading that we will be using here. Okay, let's go to the additional information just to see what it is. It says depreciation as per IT rules is 45,000. So this one item depreciation will need some change. Okay, so we will see how to do that. Then it says 10% of travel and 15% of entertainment expenses are considered as personal. So that means out of travel expenses and out of entertainment expenses also some portion is treated as a personal expenditure and that will have to be disallowed. Sometimes what happens, you have a mix of expenditure here. It's inclusive of both personal as well as business expenditure. So you make a judgment and maybe 10%, 15%, 20% if you feel is personal, you can always add back that as a personal expenditure. So likewise, this judgment is given by the SEC that 10% of travel and 15% of entertainment expenses are considered as personal. Okay. So apart from this, rest of the items we have to discuss and find out are they leading to any kind of a disallowance. Starting from salary, no issue. Salary, office rent, both are allowed as deduction. But travel expenses, 10% will be disallowed. So add first item, travel expenses. As so 10% of 30,000 is 3,000. Sorry. 3,000 will be disallowed under the head travel and conveyance because that seems to be personal. Then bad debts are a usual business expenditure, so no adjustment is called for bad debts. Interest and finance charges, as long as they are incurred for business, they are also allowed. We don't have any specific information to disallow. Office expenses, selling expenses, both are allowed as deduction because we don't have any contrary information. But depreciation as per tax laws is different. So we can say depreciation considered separately. Depreciation considered separately, and that amount will be added back. That amount is 60,000 rupees. So we are adding back 60,000 rupees of depreciation because we are going to consider that as a separate item. Then again, entertainment, 10% or 15%. 15% is considered as personal. Okay. So entertainment, out of that, considered as personal. So expenditure is 12,000 into 15. 1,800 is disallowed towards the entertainment expenditure. Have you understood this travel and entertainment related disallowance on percentage basis? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is income tax. Okay, income tax is again not allowed as deduction. We have seen earlier also. So we can safely add back income tax of 24,000 rupees. So add income tax 24,000. Staff welfare is a usual business expenditure, so no adjustment is required for staff welfare expenses. 24,900 is fully allowed as deduction. So we come to the deductions now. So less deductions or items considered separately. Less deductions or items considered separately. So in that, we are going to have these two amounts because these are exempted income which are credited to P&L account. So we can say here exempted income credited to direct account. What are the two amounts? Exempted income credited to profit and loss account. This remuneration is taxable as business income, so no adjustment is required. Interest on capital is also taxable as business income, so it does not call for any kind of adjustment. You can keep it as part of taxable income only. And then depreciation, we have to claim depreciation. Depreciation as per notice 45,000. Rules, you can claim the depreciation of 45,000 and not 60,000. So we added 60,000 and we reduced 45,000 rupees. Okay, that completes everything, correct? So we can now total up the things. These are the totals. So we have a subtotal now. This is the subtotal and these are the deductions. So deductions are 16 lakhs 20,000 and then we get the income from business or profession. Business. 4 lakhs 9,900. Have you understood the workings and calculations?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll write one note here. So these are the relevant details. Note on exempted income. Which are the exempted incomes? PPF amount withdrawal 15 lakhs exempted under section 10(12). Share of profit from partnership firm exempted under section 10 subsection 2A, and that is 75,000 rupees. Okay, and these two sums, remuneration and interest on working capital, is taxed as business income only. So we are not going to make any adjustment in this net profit. It has already gone to profit and loss account. So we don't have to do any adjustment whatsoever for that particular amount. Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody has completed up to exemptions. Yes, all of you completed the solution up to.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, now what we'll do is I'll take a 5 minutes break. Okay, and then we'll start after 5-7 minutes. We have one more lengthy question now. There are quite a few adjustments in that we will complete in the next lecture. Okay, because I'm going to continue for a while. As I told you, I'm going to extend this lecture. Is that okay? Hello?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
I will download the attendance for this lecture. Okay, and then I'll stop the recording for a minute, and then we will resume the recording. Okay.